Honestly, it was coming to the end of my career at NC State. I wrestled at NC State for 4 years, and about April-ish, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do next year. And one of my options was to grad transfer. And so I had a list of schools that I was interested in, and so I actually ended up coming on a visit a couple weeks after the season ended, and met with Daniel, head coach, and we walked around campus, and he just was really friendly. Honestly, just got to really have a great conversation with him, and I knew that he was a super supportive coach, and just everything fell into place. I knew that I was supposed to be here. First thing that pops into my head when I hear Gardner-Webb is family. It was the first time I really got to experience what it's like to know people personally outside of wrestling or outside of sports. You cross paths with so many people all the time here, and you actually get to know them. That's like something that I had never experienced before. Seeing the same people multiple times a day, it creates that family aspect. I think that my time here at Gardner-Webb has prepared me for the future because it gave me an interesting transition that a lot of people don't get to experience. A lot of people do not get to go to a second school as a fifth year or a grad student straight out of undergrad. And honestly, I'm just cherishing this season of life as it's allowed me to rest. It's allowed me to relax as I'm in online classes. And truthfully, this season of life has helped me just prepare for the future, and knowing that it's going to be uncomfortable, it's going to be weird, but it really allowed for that safe setting of still being in a college environment, but being a grad student has allowed me to have an interesting transition away from undergrad, but at the same time, I wouldn't say that I'm completely in the real world yet. So it's prepared me for just challenges of transition that come after undergrad. So first couple weeks I'm here, we start preseason and we're driving down into the woods to run the trails, and I'm like, where in the world are we going? I've spent the last couple of years, I grew up in Atlanta, so just being in the city, I'm like, oh yeah. So we're going down into the woods, and the first time that we ran into the woods, I ended up getting lost along with 7 or 8 other teammates. So kind of throughout preseason, it was the running joke of oh, we're gonna get lost this week in the woods. And I was like, it was just something where we got lost in the woods for 45 minutes. So it was just one of those times where it was interesting getting back to where we started, as we had no phones, we had no water, and we ended up making it back. So, that's the story to tell. I remember when we were in California, and we spent multiple hours stuck in traffic, in LA. We were just talking, and one of the things that came up was if I make this amount of money, this person's gonna be happy. And I just remember Daniel being there's more to life than making money. This sport will prepare you for life. Honestly, what makes my kid happy is throwing rocks. And that is something that I will forever remember, of just wisdom that comes, of just there's more than wrestling, and there's more than just what the world defines as success to this life. So I would say there's a role that, the reason that I came here, one of the reasons that, I was recruited here was there just was not many older guys on the team. So just a little bit of a leadership role and a wisdom role. I had the opportunity to, compete 4 years before being here at a different school. And that prepared me to be here. It prepared me with the way in which I worked, the work ethic, whether it's in the weight room, picking up the weight that's going to challenge me the most, or wrestling the hardest that I can in practice, of just the ways in which I work as a humble leader. The way in which I started my season. First 2 weekends, after the first 2 weekends, I was 1-4. And I was like, I didn't come here to have a terrible season. And so one of the biggest challenges was, going up a weight class, which this is my first year of wrestling 197. So getting used to that. And honestly, another big challenge was the training, the timing of training, of, lifting in the morning, where I'm used to lifting in the afternoon, or, sometimes running at different times during preseason. Those were some of the biggest challenges because I was like a clock. Like I had a certain way of doing things, and having to change the way that I was used to doing things, and doing it well was a really big challenge. Cherish the hard times and cherish the good times. This sport is very humbling, and times are gonna get hard. And there's gonna be times that are great. But cherish both sides of them because it goes by quickly.